Hello everyone, welcome to Software Testing Expert Talk series. Today we have a guest who is a software test consultant having overall experience of 3+ years in the IT industry. He is an experienced software quality assurance engineer who is skilled in Java, Selenium WebDriver, JavaScript, TypeScript, Protector, Dart, and Flutter as well. On the other hand, he is the creator of Let Code, a website meant for practicing test automation and enhancing your confidence in coding. Plus, he is also creator of Ruto, XPath Finder, an XPath Finder tool for web elements present on the web pages. And he also has a YouTube channel named Let Code with Koushik, where he has posted a lot of videos related to different test automation tools in the market with different programming languages. I have already taken his name while talking about his YouTube channel. Yes, you are right. Koushik Chatterjee is our guest for today's show. Welcome to our show, Koushik.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jay. So it's a great pleasure to have in the QAFox and also with you. And really thankful to having me in your show. And I believe I'm going to give the best as I can do.
Guys, today we will be discussing about Playwright, an automation tool created by Microsoft. Agenda for our today's STET is why Playwright, its benefits, and is it easy to learn? Installation and project setup. Understanding the basic of Playwright cool and unique features, how to learn it and implement on our projects. Over to you, Koushik.
Okay, so thank you so much, Jay. So it's a really great pleasure to have me to give a just as like quick demo of the Playwright. So Playwright is really huge thing. So it's if you talk about the Selenium WebDriver or the Protector or any other tool, Playwright has some really cool unique features. So the agenda of this video, this show is basically to make everyone understandable like what is Playwright and how we can learn it. Okay, so within the time limit, maybe I will be not able to deliver all the things that I know in the Playwright or what are the things I'm exploring currently. But definitely, if someone is a learner and they want to learn the Playwright, I think this will be the best. Okay. So before getting into the Playwright, the prerequisites are very simple. We should learn the JavaScript or the TypeScript. So if you learn JavaScript, then I can say like you already know the 80% of TypeScript, because TypeScript is like a superset of JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript, then probably I can assume that you already know the TypeScript. And of course, Playwright is a huge, we can code in like Java, JavaScript, the TypeScript, Python, C Sharp, and also like whatever the language. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, around 5 language supports as of today. Maybe in future they might bring more bindings as well. So I'm going to focus on TypeScript because that is pretty much comfortable, and like already there are plenty of tutorials on the TypeScript, JavaScript in my channel. So probably if you're new to the scripting languages, probably you can check it out there. Okay. So before getting into the installation, let me make few points why we should go with Playwright or what are the benefits that we will be getting from the Playwright. Okay. So Playwright, what is Playwright, right? So Playwright is basically a Node.js library to automate Chromium, Firefox, WebKit. So for those who do not know WebKit is very simple. So in Mac OS or the iOS, so we have the browsers, right? So the browsers are built on top of the WebKit API. So it's like again your Chromium. So we have the Chrome browser, Firefox browser, Brave browser. We have a lot of browsers, right? So they are actually built on top of Chromium. So Chromium is the API, or we can say like in layman term, it's like a vendor, it's a provider. Based on that, we can build our own browser as well. So that is what Chromium means here. Okay. And Playwright is built to enable cross-browser testing, because if you see in whole in the testing process, of course, it's not only the Chrome or the Firefox, right? So we have plenty of browsers nowadays. So it's like monthly, each and every new browsers get launched in the market, but majorly they are built on top of Chromium. So, but still, as a testers, of course, we should test on multiple browsers, because there might be chances the UI might get changed because of the CSS and all those stuff, right? So inbuilt, Playwright supposed to enable the cross-browser web testing. Okay, and Playwright is basically by the Microsoft. So if you know the product from Microsoft, of course, we can see the quality of the product, right? So Playwright is also an awesome tool, and it is actually a fork of Puppeteer. So Puppeteer is basically another node library that is used to automate any of the Chromium browser. Okay, and but the it is mostly for the JavaScript. But if you see the Playwright, it's like supporting multiple language binding. Okay, and Puppeteer is not. I'm not sure about it, but as I have seen, it is not meant for the testers. It's more for the developers where they can do their unit testing. But Playwright, of course, we can use it for our automations. Like if you're using Selenium or the Protector, then I will recommend you to maybe you can switch to the Playwright as well. But why I'm asking to switch in the sense, let me give you some points here. Okay, so we can call it like capabilities of Playwright or the features of Playwright. So basically, it supports multiple pages, multiple domains, and of course, iframes. Why I'm insisting iframes in the sense, if you see when the Cypress got released, it is not able to tackle the window handling concept or the iframe concept, right? But Playwright is from the very first, it is able to support all those stuff. And of course, nowadays, if you see like Selenium 4 is coming, where we have the CDP, the Chrome DevTools protocol support. We can do the networking geolocations that are very basically available in the Playwright as well. And Playwright can emulate the mobile device. When I say emulate, it cannot automate any of the APK or other iOS files, but it can mock it. For example, when we load a web page on our mobile, the entire UI gets changed, right? So it has support for the mobile as well as the web. So it does the emulate, but we cannot test on the real devices. Okay. And it also supports the native input events for mouse and keyboard. For example, in Selenium, we have the actions class where we can do almost each and every actions that we do, like the hovering or drag and drop. Everything is possible with the help of Playwright as well. And upload and download are also supported. When I say upload, mostly in Selenium, what we used to do is we use the send case where the input type is file. Actually, that is the correct one. So if any UI, if you see, there will be definitely input type equal to files. And based on that, we can use the send case or the set file detector to upload any file. In Playwright, that is also possible. Apart from that, we have something called like page on file chooser listener, where even the element doesn't have like input type equal to file. We can just do the click, which will bring the pop-up, right? But internally, Playwright will handle that. I will show a demo for that today. So that's a really cool feature of Playwright. So this is like in overall, what is Playwright? Now, why Playwright, right? So as we discussed earlier, like it supports all the browsers. We can do the device emulations, and it supports both headful and the headless. Headless in the sense, if someone new to the testing, they might not aware of headless. Headless is very simple concept. The browser will execute, but we cannot see any of the GUI, graphical user interface. There are a few benefits of that as well. So it will be like very speed in execution. So it can save a lot of your regression time. But yeah, depends on the project. So some people prefer to use the headless. Some people do not prefer to headless. That's up to them, I believe. Okay. And the major thing that I like about the Playwright is the fast and the reliable execution. For example, auto waits. Auto waits are really awesome in Playwright. I have a demo for that. I will show you. For example, we have to write the implicit wait, explicit wait in Selenium, right? But without writing any of the code or much code, I can say, we can tackle any of the element with the help of Playwright. So waiting here is really awesome. So for most of the scenarios, we really don't have to write any of the explicit conditions. Of course, there is a feature, we can use it, but it is not required for most of the applications. And timeout free automation. That means most of the time people used to say like my test is getting failed because of the flakiness of the application or because of the script, right? But as per my knowledge, whatever I have explored so far, I didn't face any such problem in Playwright. It's really awesome. So I have tried with the React application, Angular applications, normal applications, everything works really fine. And when we talk about the testing, of course, we should go with the parallel testing to reduce the regression effort. So of course, here Playwright comes with the parallel execution as well. And there is a wide variety of selectors. So if you know, in Selenium, we have like majorly 8, and Selenium 4 is coming with the relative locators and few other concepts. But in Playwright, it's like a lot of locators are there. So I cannot make one video for that. It's like more of like getting into the documentation and learning, because there are so many conditions. So if element is visible, then only we can write. But we can write that with the help of locator itself. So that flexible, or I can say like wide varieties of locators we have in Playwright. And of course, it can handle single page application. So single page application in the sense like most of the Angular application. So what happens in the sense in the Angular, there will be only one file, and that will be changed based on the components. So only one time the page will get rendered, and all the other components will just replace the another component. That is how the Angular works. So of course, it can handle all those stuff. Of course, Selenium can handle, but we have to go with the explicit weight more. So if you have a strong framework, then of course we can do anything with the Selenium. But even though we do not have any good framework, or we know only the basics of Playwright, still it can handle any of the Angular or the React application.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that's a brief about the Playwright, what is Playwright and why we should learn the Playwright. So next, we'll get into the installation process, and almost like every other JavaScript or the TypeScript binding APIs, it's basically the Node.js. With the help of Node.js, we are going to do the installation. So prerequisite, the requirements are we should have the node in our system. And then, of course, the editor, I'm going to use the VS Code editor. So one of my favorite, that is what I use a lot of time. So VS Code editor is the ideal here. Okay.
Okay.
And we need few of the dependencies. So I'll just you can just post everything in the description. Probably viewers can take it from there. So I have already copied in my notepad. So I will just take it from there and I will paste it. Meanwhile, I'll also tell like what are the things we are installing and why we are installing. Okay.
Okay.
So and by the way, this is the official website, playwright.dev. And here we have the document section. So Playwright has really good documentations. I don't think anyone really need a tutorial, long tutorial for learning Playwright. The documentation itself like self-explanatory, and it's really good. But most of the things are based on the JavaScript. So TypeScript, there are only few tutorials I saw on the Udemy or in the YouTube. So here we are going to learn about the TypeScript Playwright.
Okay.
So we'll start with the installation. I'll just create a new folder here. Let's say like Playwright dash learning, something like that. Okay. And then I will just right click and I will open with VS Code. Okay. So first thing, what we are going to do is we are going to create a node package manager. So npm init, we are going to do that. So we'll get like package.json where we can add all our dependencies. So very simple step, npm init and dash y. So dash y in the sense, it will not ask us like some details. So we have to say like, what is the project name, what is the version, everything. If I say dash y, it will just skip everything and it will create a package.json. Okay. And here I have a version. Anyway, that's fine. Okay. So here you can see we have a package.json and it has a name like playwright dash learning and version and description. We can have optional basically. So we are not going to focus on those. Okay. What we are interested on to is add the dependency. So as I said earlier, I have few of the dependencies. Let me copy and paste over here. Okay. So this dependencies is basically like we have types jest. So what is jest in the sense? If someone from Protector or maybe WebDriver, they know it well, I believe. Like we have the Mocha, we have the Jasmine, right? So similarly, jest is also a test execution framework. So when I compare this with Java, we can say like JUnit or maybe the test ng. So jest is basically your testing runner. So test runner, basically it's a unit testing framework, we can call it. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, and at types, in the sense, it's basically the TypeScript definitions. We get definitions in the sense we will get all the documentation related to the just, and for that we are using this at types. And this is purely used only for the documentation purpose, and this is the actual just code. So when I write script, I will be using like describe or the test. So those are basically coming from the just. I will tell you that in while writing the code. Okay.
Okay.
To, of course, we need the Playwright. So Playwright, the latest version we are using 1.8.0, and TypeScript. And this one, just dash Playwright dash preset, is basically Playwright is already configured with just like how to run all the test script. So it will do all the compilation and everything, because TypeScript cannot execute of its own. What TypeScript do is basically convert all the codes into JavaScript, and then from the JavaScript, the execution starts. So for that, we need this preset and this ts.just. So ts-just is like your TypeScript compiler for the just framework, okay, or the execution framework.
Okay.
Now, yeah, so we have already added all the dependencies in the package, right? So what we have to do is we have to simply save the file, and then I can say like npm I in the sense short form of install. When I hit this, so here it will create a node modules folder, and all the dependencies, whatever we have specified here, everything will be downloaded from the internet, and it will be stored in my local machine. Okay. So let's wait few minutes. I believe it will just download everything.
Okay. So till the time it is downloading, I just want to know, like, is there any operating system dependency of Playwright? Any kind of operating system does Playwright supports? Is there kind of anything?
No, Playwright doesn't depends on any of the operating system. It can almost in any operating system we can do. Why? Because if you see here the installation, it actually have its own browser. So if you see in Selenium will take our browsers, and we need the drivers to handle the browsers, right? But in Playwright, it has its own browser. It's like the Chromium browser will be there, the Firefox will be there, the WebKit will be there. So we can take the browsers from the Playwright itself. So it will download all the browsers for ourselves. And if you wanted to test like the Edge version or the Chrome version, whatever you have in your system, still we can do that. But for that, we have to do some configurations, like 1 or 2 steps, but that's easy only. But by default, Playwright comes with the Chromium, Firefox, and the WebKit. So the browser is like inbuilt. So it doesn't really matter, because all the operating system can handle all the browsers. So that's really not a problem here.
Okay. So does Playwright support Apple Safari as well?
Yeah. So that is what WebKit. So WebKit in the sense like whatever the browsers runs on the Mac or the Mac operating system or the iOS operating system, that is what we call it as WebKit.
Understood. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so here the download is completed. All the dependencies are here. So if I expand the node modules, you can see we got a lot of packages. Let's not worry about that. It's basically like if I have to compare this, I can compare this with like your Maven dependencies. So whenever we add something on the pom.xml, it is going to the M2 repo, and it's going to download everything. So same concept here only. So here in the JavaScript world, we call it as like node modules. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we are done with the installation. That's it. Pretty much we are done. Only one thing we need, that is to add one more jest. So already we have the jest here, but we have added in the dev dependencies. So that means it will be handling for this project only. But I have to run my test execution from another folder, or maybe I have to call directly the jest. So for that, I have to install the jest globally as well. So it's like installing everything for this project, but when I have to execute the jest, I have to install that in the global level as well. So very simple command. I will say like npm I dash g in the sense it's a global. For the global, we are saying dash g. Okay. And then I will say like just and enter. That's it. So it will again download the dependency in the global. So global in the sense it will be downloaded in the app data folder. So if I go to Windows R, and if I type like app data, here you can see we have lots of dependencies, right? So basically it will have like node modules. What's that? Not here. It will be in the roaming. Yeah. So here npm. So it will be downloaded in this node modules particular folder. Okay? So already you can see like we have just command, just everything out there. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So and actually I already have. So that is the reason it says like file already exists. But if you are doing for the first time, there will be no problem in that.
Okay.
Okay. So now we are going to do our first script, hopefully. So it's going to be very easy. Trust me, it's going to be very, very easy. So I'm going to create a folder called test. And within the test folder, we'll just write a simple login script. Okay. So we'll just name it like login.test.ts. Okay. So what is test.ts in the sense? TS, of course, stands for TypeScript, the file format. And .test is basically, we are using the gist, right? So in the gist, whenever we have a test file, we call it like spec file. So if it's a spec file, we have to name it like .test. The file extension. It is not mandatory, but again, it's like the best practices. So if you are from the Jasmine, probably people will use like a file name .spec.ts or Java JS, right? So similarly, instead of spec, here we are using this test.ts. That's it. Okay.
Okay.
And as I said like earlier, TypeScript cannot execute of its own. So TypeScript needs to be compiled to the JavaScript, and from the JavaScript only the files are going to run. So for that, we have to again do some modifications in the package.json. So I'll just tell this, say the steps. So here we have like just and then followed by some details. Let me show you this one. So I'm just going to paste that after my dependencies.
Okay.
Now what we have here is basically just it's like the just test runner we are using, and we have something called transform. So transform is basically it's going to use the ts-just that we have installed here. So what it will do in the sense, it will go and check all the files. Whenever we have a TypeScript files, it will just take all this file. And here we have module file extensions. That means we are saying like what are the files we have to check. So if you have node files, JSON files, JavaScript file, the TypeScript files, it's going to check all the files. And a timeout in the sense, so when we write a test file, the test file will have a default of like 5 seconds. So if the test is going to exceed more than 5 seconds, it will throw us some error. So to prevent that, we are using the test timeout, because if you say like sign up form, it might have like it might run like 10 seconds or 20 seconds, which is of course more than 5 seconds, right? So to prevent the timeout error, we are using this test timeout. Okay. And that's it. Yeah. And what we have to do is one more thing is like we are using this is like your configuration. So this whole thing is like your configurations. So we can run this in two ways in the sense we can say like npm run test, or else we can say like just then followed by the file name. So if you want to run with the help of npm, so here we have the scripts where we have the test. So here we have to specify that particular configuration, that is just. Okay. So this is pretty much optional. We can run with the npm. When this will be helpful in the sense like when we are going to the CI/CD like Jenkins or any other tool, that time everything should be run from the node packages. So that time it will be helpful. Okay. Okay. Now we are going to write our first test script. So we are done with all the installations and the setup. So this is what the setup. I believe you will paste everything in the description. So if someone is new, probably they can take everything from here and they can learn the Playwright. Okay. So first we are going to run and we are going to execute this in the Chromium process. So I believe majorly most of us use the Chrome for our testing or for our manual testing or the automation testing. So we'll go with the Chromium now. Okay. So first thing, of course, we have to do the import, and we have to say like Chromium, and we are going to import this from the Playwright. Okay. So as soon as I type Playwright, it will give me all these suggestions. So that is the beauty of TypeScript. So lots of people are getting confused, like what is the JavaScript, what is TypeScript? So basically, both are technically different, but majorly same only, I can say, because Playwright, I mean not Playwright, TypeScript is basically superset of the JavaScript. So in JavaScript, now actually nowadays everything is like super cool with the help of VS Code. We can get all the code suggestions and everything. But in few years ago, JavaScript doesn't give us any syntactic sugar error. Like in the compile time, it won't show us anything. In the runtime only, we can identify all the compile time error or maybe the some kind of exceptions. But the TypeScript, basically when we write the code, it will tell you like whether you are doing compile time error. Actually, it changed the data type into static. That is the beauty of TypeScript. Okay. Okay. So we have done the import statement. Now what we have to do is we are going to create a test suite. So to create a test suite in the Jasmine or in the Mocha or in the Jest, it's basically your describe, right? So in the describe block, we are going to say like, we'll just name something like learn playwright, something like this. And then we will use a callback function here. So this is like your anonymous functions. Now again, like if someone's knows JavaScript or the TypeScript, they will get it very simple. This is basically a function that doesn't have any name. So this anonymous function. Okay. And then we are going to create a test. So test in the sense it's like your particular individual test. So this is like your test suite, and this is like your test cases, I can say, or the specs, I can say. Okay. So we'll name it like login into, maybe use let code. So I'm going to show demo in my website. And everything in Playwright is basically supports the async and await. So what is async and await in the sense, when we talk about the JavaScript, we know that JavaScript, like if someone is from protected, they might get it very well, I think. So basically we have to resolve the promises, right? So because almost like all the JavaScript APIs are based on the promises, so we have to handle the promises. And nowadays, like async and await, the ES6 feature of JavaScript, and it is already there in the TypeScript. It makes our life very, very simple. So we don't need to worry about like multiple lines of inner brackets, like then and do something. Instead of that, we can write the code like as simple we do in the Java. So in Java, it's like it will execute line by line, right? Same thing happens in the JavaScript as well, but everything it's like promises. So what Playwright does is basically inbuilt support for the async and await. So it might look a little awkward to introduce this async and await before each and every function and each and every line, but trust me, that's really, really easy. Okay. So first thing what we are going to do is we are going to launch the browser and we are going to load the URL. Okay. So first we have to use the Chromium and we are going to say launch. Let's see how to do that. So Chromium, and I'm going to say the function called launch. And of course we have to use the await, and I'm going to store that in a object called browser. Okay. So what this lines means, we are trying to launch the Chromium browser. Okay. So launch will definitely launch that particular browser. I mean, it will return the browser instance. The beauty of Playwright is, as I said earlier, documentation is really cool. So if you just mouse over on any of the function, it will tell you like what does it returns, what is the return type it is, and like how to create all the syntax will be mostly there for all the functions. Okay. Yeah. Now we have launched the browser. Then we have to create a new context here. So I will say like create new context. So the function name is new context. So what is context in the sense? It is actually a really cool feature in Playwright. So we can load or we can launch multiple browsers within the same script. So each and every context will not share its cookies or cache with the another context, another browser basically. So what do I mean context in the sense? We can understand like this is more of like browser instance, right? So we can have multiple instance. For example, let me tell you this one scenario. Let's assume that we are going to do some sign up. Okay, we are going to do some sign up in any of the website, and that will give us like confirmation email, right? So how we can handle this is basically we can have sign up in one context, and we can write another context just to log into that particular email and getting some or doing some verification on those. So context can be used in that way. I believe that makes some sense to you, right? Yeah. So we'll just name this like context here. So this is going to return me a context, and of course we have to use the await, or else it will be miss. Okay. Now we have launched the browser, we have launched the context. Next, what we have to do is we have to create a new page. So when I say like launch or the new context, basically it will create the instance and the context. But based on the context, I have to create the new page. So here I'm going to say await context dot new page, right? So new page, in the sense, it's to make it very simple, I can say like it's like creating a new tab. So we have just created a new tab. That means let's say that I have loaded this browser and I have created a context, and based on the context I have created a new tab here, right? Now within the tab, let me store this in a variable first, object equal to const page. Okay. Now I can say like page dot go to. So go to is like again your very simple function. Whatever the string we are going to pass, URL basically, that will be loaded. So it's like I can compare this with like Selenium driver dot get. Okay. So I'm going to use this website called letcode. So letcode.in basically used to do the practice testing practice. So yeah, so I'm going to load this one. And yeah, that's it, pretty much fine. Okay, so this will just load the browser and it will load this URL. Let's see how to run this first, then probably we can do some more test cases, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to bring up my terminal, Control J to bring up the terminal. And here I can say like just then followed by login dot test dot ts. So when I say just, then followed by the file name alone. So just is very smart. It will go to the test folder directly, and it can take the file. So here I'm on the parent folder, not within the test folder. Still just can handle that. So that is the beauty of just as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So here you can see it picked the file correctly, like test and slash the file name, actually the TypeScript file. Then internally it do some process like converting the TypeScript into JavaScript, and it is going to run. So for all those stuff only we have used everything.
Okay.
Now if you wanted something, here you can see past one and test it past one test file, and we are getting some warning. I will come to this, but we didn't see any of the browser, right? So it says that it has passed the test step, but we couldn't see any of the browser, right?
Right.
The reason here is when I say a launch, by default it will launch in the headless. That means browser won't be there, the any of the GUI won't be there, but it will do all the tests. So but if you wanted to you wanted to see the browser, we can say like headless, and here I can pass the value as false. That means now we can actually see the browser. Okay. And one more thing, here we are getting says like just did not exit 1 second after the test run has completed. This is because of the asynchronous operations. That means this is basically warning, but we'll solve it. So what I did here is I have created the browser, I have created the context, I have created the page, I have go to this URL, but I didn't close any of the objects. So that is the reason we are getting that warning. I will show you how to get rid of that. That's very simple. Now still actually the program is running, so I'm going to press Control C to terminate this particular session, and Control L to clear up everything. And again I'm going to run the same test script. Now let's see whether we are able to see the browser or not.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got the Chromium browser. So it will look exactly same like the Chromium only. And like by default it will load in the incognito mode. So incognito in the sense like when we run our test script with the help of Selenium, that is also kind of incognito mode only, right? So it will create a private session for us. So same things here also. So it has just loaded the website within this Chromium browser. Okay. Now still we are getting the warning. So we'll just get rid of this. What we can do is we can close all the objects. So basically I can say like await page dot close. So we are going to close the tab, and then I can say like context dot close. So it will clear the instance, and then we can close the browser itself. So that means whatever we have launched, we are going to close. Okay, so for our learning, this is not required, but some people might be worried about this warning. So I'm just going to show this one.
Okay.
The same steps test it's going to perform. So it will just load the website and then it will close all the things. But this time we won't get any of the warnings basically.
That's great.
So here you can see, yeah, so there is no warning now this time. So that is the only difference between unclosed objects and the closed object. Okay. But still for our learning, I will just comment this as of now because we wanted to see the browser, like what it does. So I'll just comment it as of now.
Okay.
Okay, so this is how we have to write the basic test script to launch the Chromium browser. Same thing applies for the Firefox. So we can just import the Firefox or the WebKit, and then we can do the test. So for the WebKit, of course, we need the Mac, but Chrome and Firefox, we can do it. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about few of the cool feature of the Playwright. I just really love this. I wanted to show you. Okay.
Yeah.
For example, mostly like Selenium or Protector, we can take, we can just write the code for each and every steps, right? But in Playwright, there are few concepts like we can do the record the test, and we can also generate the codeless, like we can make this as a codeless automation. Okay, let me show you. That will give you a brief idea, I believe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this npx. Okay, so there is two things: npm node package manager, and this is basically npx node package execution, I believe. So difference is like node package manager is used to download all the packages, whereas npx is used to execute those packages. Okay. So here I'm going to say npx playwright, and I'm going to generate the code. So code gen, then followed by I can give any of the URL. Okay. So this is the simple command. Let's see what it can do.
Okay.
So it will basically load the browser, right? So it will basically load the browser, and with this, now as soon as I mouse over on any of the menus, you can see it is basically giving us all the locators, right? So here you can see we have a text equal to login, so it's identifying all the locators here. So we don't need to inspect anything. Yeah, that's the beauty of Playwright. We don't need to inspect anything. Most of the time it can give you the, like, I can say 90% of the accuracy is correct. As per I checked. Again, it depends on the projects, it depends on the technology they have used. But for my scenario, it's almost like 90% it's correct only. Okay. So what we are going to do is we are going to click on this login, and probably I can enter my user name here. That is my email. And I'm going to tab it. Okay, so I'm just going to tab it, so it will move to the next one, and there I'm going to give my password, and then I'm going to click my login. Okay, as soon as I log in, you can see here we have a welcome message. But we are not going to inspect this one, or we are going to handle this. Without handling this, as soon as the message disappear, I'm going to click out the sign out. Okay. If I handle the same in Selenium, like without handling the toast notification, if I try to click on the sign out button, that will give me the element intercepted exception, right? Because there is already element on top of that. So definitely Selenium cannot do the click action. But let's see how this TypeScript is going to handle that. So I'm just going to close my browser here. And as soon as I close, okay, I forgot to do one thing. So in the right hand side, there will be all the test tab. I have to copy that. Okay, let me just do it once again quickly. Yeah, so it loaded the website. Then I'm going to click on the login. I'm going to enter my username. gmail.com, and I'm going to tab it, and I'm going to type the password, and I'm going to click on the login, and then I will not handle this one. So basically I'm not going to handle this one. Once it get disappeared, then I'm going to click on the sign out, and that's it. Now in the right hand side, you can see we got all these test script. Okay, so I'm just going to copy every line from here, and Control C, of course, to copy. And then I'm going to close this one as well. And let's go and take the same scenario. So I will just make it as X test. That means it will be skipped now. So it's like test ng enable equal to false, right? So same thing, X text in the sense it will not execute now. So I will just create another test here, and then I'll just say like code.
So Kaushik, I have a question here. X text means is it skipping the test?
Yeah, it will skip the test.
Okay, understood. Yeah.
And I will just paste whatever I have copied from there. And here, this is basically my editor problem. Yeah. Okay. Now here you can see we have the async, and by default, each and every line with the comments also it has generated the code. So like headless equal to false, we have launched the browser, we have context, we have the new page, then it loaded that particular URL, and then it is clicking on the login, and it has something like wait for navigation in the sense it will just wait until the navigations get completed. And then here you can see we have click action. So I clicked on the enter register email, that is my placeholder there. I clicked on that and it typed the something, right? So it typed basically my username, and then it typed my okay, I have done this one, so we'll just remove this one. Yeah, so basically it is going to take my email address. Here I have the credential, and here you can see okay, paste.click in the sense it will do the click action. Paste.fill in the sense I can compare this with the send case. So paste.fill in the sense it will do the type. So the first one is basically my locator, the selector, and second one is my test data. And then I have done the tab. So it says like page.press in the sense it will do the like what are the actions we give. We can give the key down, key up, tab, control shift, all those stuff. So here I have used tab. Playwright is able to identify that as well, and it is generated this code for that as well. And
great.
then we have the and then we have the password. So I have given the dummy password here, and then it has like button has login. So we no need to write XPath for the buttons, like button /button text equal to some text, right? Instead of that, we can use this kind of locators that is specific to the Playwright. So here like button colon has text, and then followed by the text, whatever the text we have, right? And then if you see, I am clicking on the sign out button. But if you remember, as soon as I do the login, there will be toast message. If I don't handle the toast message, Selenium will throw like element click intercepted, right? But let's see how the Playwright is going to tackle that. Okay, so I'm just going to bring up my terminal again, and I'm going to run the same test. So we have two tests, but one is X test. So that will be skipped anyway. So it is going to run only one test. Yeah. So it's going to do the login, and it's going to enter that password and password. And if you see here, the UI is actually moving here and there, right? Now it actually clicked on the sign out button. So what happened internally in the sense, if you have, I don't know whether the screen share is, you are able to see that properly. What happens in Playwright in the sense, whenever we say to click on any element, it will basically try to click on all the locations in the sense that particular element location. So it will try to click on the left side, the right side, the top side, the bottom, the middle. If there is no click is happening, it will try to identify like what is exactly happening. So there is a toast message. That is the reason we are not able to click on the sign out button.
I see.
But as I said, like the beautiful feature of Playwright is basically the auto waits, right? So I didn't write a single code to say like what to wait or how to wait, but Playwright is able to understand and it wait for the element to disappear, and based on that it does the click action. So that is the really cool feature of Playwright.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So if someone wants to try the same scenario in Selenium, I bet them they will definitely get the like element click intercepted or element is not visible, like some kind of exception for sure, without any explicit wait. Of course, we can handle with the explicit wait, but without any conditions here, we are able to do this. So that is the really good feature of Playwright.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay. So this is like only one feature. I like to show one more thing as well. So what we have done is we have generated the code and we have run this. But how about whatever we are running? How about after the test, if we can see that as a video format as well, right? That will be really awesome, right? Let me show you. Okay. So what I'm going to do is within the new context, and I'm going to create something called record video, and I'm going to specify the file path basically. Yeah. So here I will say like dir the output directory, and I will just use the root folder. So video slash, that means here it will create a folder called video, and it will store the execution in a video format. So let me run this again. So let's run. So of course we cannot do this in Selenium. We can do with some library, like I think there is a dependency called Monty. So based on that we can do that, but again it's not a inbuilt feature. That is not meant for Selenium actually. So it's okay, but in Playwright it is actually built-in feature, so we can record the test script. That is the beauty. So here we can see that the code is executed, and we got a new folder called video, correct? And within that we have a file as well. So let me open this in my Explorer, and if I play this, so you can see what exactly happened. So it loaded the URL, it clicked on the login, it gave some credential, and then it clicked on the sign out button. So that is the beauty of Playwright.
Okay, got it.
Right? Yeah. So mostly when we do the testing, of course the execution report is very important, right? So we have to create lots of report and everything,
right?
But if we have a feature like this, then we can show to the client or the like whoever the concerned person, we can show like, see, I have the video, my test is working fine, something wrong with the dev tip. So it's happened, right? So we can show the proof. Yeah.
Wow, that's a great thing.
Yeah, so that's really cool, right? So it has inbuilt features, so that's really good. Okay, now let me show one more thing. So I said like we can do the file upload, right? So we can do the file upload easily with the Selenium, right? So I'll just show you demo for test.ts. And I will use this video. So whatever the video we have created, we will use this. I'll just rename this like my file, something like that. Okay, and that's pretty much cool, I believe. Okay, now again I have to write the same code, so I'll just copy or I will borrow from here. So we have a describe, we have a test, and of course I need the import statement. So let me write that as well. So just I can use the control dot, I believe. Yeah, we can use the control dot to do the auto import. And this guy is not needed as of now. Let it be here. Okay. And so for the demo purpose, I will use some other applications, maybe the Internet Heroku app, because it has a good example one. So if I talk about Selenium, we know that we can use the send keys to upload any file, right? So send keys or maybe the set file detector. So that is very handy to upload all the files. But sometimes send keys cannot help us. Of course, we can use the JavaScript executor to manipulate the DOM, and we can still do the upload. But still, some people will say like, I wanted to see like this. I want to click, and I have to handle this one. This we cannot handle in Playwright as well, but there is different one that I'll like to show you. Okay, so I'm going to inspect this one. So here you can see it has a ID, and it is basically within the div tag, not within the input tag, right? So it's basically we cannot use the send keys directly, the fill method directly here. So what we can do is we can have the listener concept here. So just like in JavaScript, we have lots of listeners that is also available in the Puppeteer, and Playwright is also a fork of Puppeteer. So we can get all the listeners from Puppeteer in Playwright as well. Let me give you an example. So I'm just going to write maybe the CSS quickly here. So div hashtag then followed by this value. And okay, so we have like two actually, but okay, let me make it as Yeah, so we get we got 1 of 1, so go to, and of course everything await. Okay, so if you don't use the await in front of any line, it will really create a mess, so the execution will not in be in the proper sequence about for the first time. But if they learn the promises, how to handle the promises concept, I think they will love the async and await. Okay,
Okay.
so what we are going to do is we are going to we are going to do the click action. So page dot click, so page dot click in the sense it will do the click. Now where we are going to do the click in the sense we are going to click on this particular css. So I'll just copy and paste over here. Okay, now once I click on this, it will bring up me. Okay, let me minimize this. Yeah, okay, once I click on this particular element, this will bring up the pop-up. So this is limitation in Selenium also. We cannot handle this. Same applies to the Playwright as well. We cannot handle this, but they have some concept called page on. Let me show you that. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say like page and dot on, and within the on I'm going to say file chooser. So file chooser is nothing but this pop-up window. So this is known as file chooser. So basically we can select any file, and we can click, we can upload, right? So here it will say like what are the file name, it is basically uploaded, right? So same concept here also. So page dot on file chooser, and that's going to return me a async callback here. Okay, so async callback with a object called it can be any name. I'm just keeping like file chooser. Now what we can do is we can say like await file chooser dot we can check like whether it's a multiple, is multiple in the sense we can see like whether it can upload multiple files or not. Maybe we can see that later on. So here we are going to use the set files, and here I'm going to specify my file name here. So it's basically within the root folder. So I can say like video slash then my file dot extension. So webm. Yeah, so is that correct? Yeah, I think it's correct. Yeah, so this one. So if you see here, we have added the listener first. So that means I have we can say this is a listener. So this is like it will wait until there is a file chooser, but as soon as we click on this particular element, the file chooser is going to appear. So basically we will set the listener first, then we will prompt that action. Okay, and okay, that's pretty much fine, I think. So let's go and run this. We'll see the output now. Okay, so I'll just select just, and then followed by file upload, that is my file name dot test dot ts. Okay, let's see in action what it actually does.
Okay.
Okay, so website is loaded, and then you can see already the file is uploaded, right? So you can see whatever the file I have given, that is already uploaded here. So how does it does in the sense in the backend, in the background, in the browser level, whenever there is a file chooser, everything works based on the input type of file. So that is how HTML works basically. So Playwright will try to create a dynamic element in the background, and then it will try to upload that particular element. So that is the beauty of Playwright. Some people say that I don't want to use this in case to upload file, that is not correct, and all this stuff. So if they are on Playwright, that's going to be very, very easy. They can just add a listener here, and they can trigger that particular window or the element, and that's it. File will be uploaded for sure.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah,
another cool feature. Yeah,
another cool feature we can say. So we have like lots of things. We can generate the whole PDF file. Like we can get the whole execution as a PDF, or we can just, as we did like recording option, similarly we can generate a PDF as well. So if we go to the playwright .devs /doc/intro, we can see that we have a lot of things here. So they can record your script, we can create a PDF, and few things like if someone wants to learn Playwright, probably they can use the documentation. This documentation that's very neat and clean actually. So here we have the auto waiting concepts, like it can perform for most of the element. Like it can say like whether the element is attached to the DOM or not, element is visible, element is stable. Stable in the sense like if there is some animations is working on the background, or if the animation is getting completed, it can understand all the scenarios. So that's really cool feature of Playwright. And it can observe all the events, like if there is some events, if a I can say like if a pop-up is coming, it can get all the events, and based on that it can do. So here you can see it has like a tabular column where we can see like what are the things it can wait automatically, like attached, visible, stable, received events, and all the other stuff. So that's really great. And of course it will support the assertion like get text, get attribute, whatever we have in the Selenium, everything is here as well. But of course the methods, the functions name will be changed, but definitely it's really easy to understand. Okay. And of course it can support the downloads. So like we have to just add few things here, and that will download all the files. And we can do the emulations, like we can mock the web browser as a like mobile device. We can set the viewport, we can set the location or the time zone, we can handle the permissions, geolocations. So really cool features are there. Okay. And one more thing I wanted to show is the elements basically. So why I'm not covering the element, because if you see any of the API like WebDriver, IO, or the Selenium, people start with locators, the selectors, but I didn't start with that. The reason is the time is not limited for this, because we have really lots variety. So just if you go to this particular link, probably you can understand like how many locators they have. They have the text selector, based on the visibility, based on the text. So we know that we cannot write the CSS with text format, right? But we can do that in Playwright easily. So that's really cool features Playwright has. And if you just go to this documentations, it can probably will get it. Like we have lot of selectors, and of course it support XPath. So whatever the XPath we know, we can use that. And also it supports the shadow DOM also. So nowadays is everyone is using the shadow DOM concept. And
Right, right.
unfortunately Selenium doesn't have the inbuilt things, right? But Playwright has. So we can handle the shadow DOM as well, the shadow root, open shadow root. If anything is open shadow root, of course we can handle that with the help of Playwright.
Great. Yeah. So one more question here, Koushik. So what if we talk about community support of Playwright? So can you just comment on it? Like, yeah.
So community support, I think there are a lot of bug fixes are happening on the GitHub. So I saw a few of the things which I do not understand on the GitHub. So in GitHub they have like community support, and of course Stack Overflow is there. Like I didn't see anything on the LinkedIn or maybe any Facebook forums, but Stack Overflow and the GitHub, they have a like good community, and it's really easy to understand actually. So if you are familiar with any of the WebDriver protocols, it almost the same, not exactly the same, but the learning curve is exactly same. So I believe there will be lots of community support in upcoming days. So Playwright is I cannot say new, but it's now only it's getting trend. And I believe in future there will be a lot of Playwright users. So I believe there will be definitely community support. As of now it might be minimal, but maybe in by the end of the year, I think it will just boom up. Already I think it's boomed up, so lots of people are asking queries about the Playwright. So yeah, it's really have the unique features and good qualities. The auto waits are simply awesome. So definitely there will be a lot of community supports in upcoming days, I believe.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So now I think we have understand the basic of the Playwright. So as we have discussed a lot of things about Playwright, so is there any limitations of using Playwright? Like if you can like comment on that, like if you have found any.
So yeah, two limitations I can say. One is basically it doesn't support the mobile automation. So it is not actually meant for, but when we say like Selenium, we know that we have the Appium, the top of Selenium, so we can automate with that Appium. But in Playwright, we do not have. Actually, they have mentioned in their website itself that they have some limitations, like it doesn't support the legacy edge or the IO support, but I don't think that's a limitations because no one is using that nowadays, so that's fine. And one other one is like we cannot test on a real devices. That is one. Apart from the documentations, I can say like no, as you asked, like there's not a huge community support. So if you get stuck in something, probably you have to raise a issue or maybe a documentation like a query on the GitHub or in the Stack Overflow. Definitely they will someone will help you. So that one thing I see. And maybe lots of tutorials are not there for Playwright as of now. But yeah, I'm just working on it. In future, like I will have like more than 50 videos for sure. Like I have planned to cover the end to end.
Awesome, which I can see on your Facebook, YouTube channel, definitely. And
Yeah.
great. So and what application that Playwright can automate, like any comment over it, like for example, as you were talking about Angular, so can you just brief up?
I don't think there is any limitation. So it's whether it's an Angular application, React applications, or a Java based UI, anything is fine. So if you have that DOM, of course we can use the Playwright. Not sure about the Silverlight applications, but I don't think nowadays anyone is using Silverlight applications. So other than that, if you have any you got your answer?
Could you repeat the last line? Actually, I was not able to hear that. Could you just repeat it again?
Okay. Yeah. So I was saying like, but I don't think anyone is using the Silverlight applications nowadays. Apart from that, React or the Android, anything, of course we can do it.
Great. Okay. So any support of CI/CD tools by Playwright, if you know, like what they're supporting at the moment, like a famous one was Jenkins, like that. Like, are they supporting any CI/CD tool?
Yeah. So since we are using the Node as our backend, so of course we can use the CI/CD. Like we can create a freestyle project, and we can just declare all the stuff in the npm, the package.json, and from there it will do the execution and everything. Like if you're using WebDriver IO or the protector in your CI/CD, then of course Playwright is also possible thanks to the Node, basically Node.js.
Great. Okay. So like you have just shown us let code, and also you are a creator of let code as well. Could you just help me in this knowing a bit about the application and what it can help a person to practice the test automation, and what kind of application or what kind of test automation tool we can practice on your let code?
Okay. So the main idea of creating let code is basically to practice, because what I feel is like whenever we learn something, we have to do the practice. If you don't do the practice, you might think that, okay, I got this concept, I understood this concept, and that's it. But when you try to work on that, you will face a lot of problems. So when I started my career, I have the same thing. Like if I see any tutorials, I'll be like, oh, that's it, very easy, right? But when I start working on that, I face some issues. So to clarify all this stuff, I have created this website called letcode.in, where we have different sections. So one of the majorly used section is this test practice site. So if I go within this, we have like different components basically. So if you want to handle like input fields, so here you can see we have a lot of test cases that are written here itself. Like here, I'm asking to enter your full name, append a text, and what is inside the text box, or clear the text, right? So for this, we will use the send case in the Selenium. For this, we will use the key like send case, then followed by tab keys dot tab, and here we'll use like get attribute, and here we'll use the dot clear function, right? So you might ask me, there is also this one, right? So the Internet Hero app, where it has almost like same thing, right? So we can use the context menu, the checkbox, everything is there. But what LetCode offers is basically in the right hand side, I have said like what I can learn from this. So when I'm starting to use this application, or when I'm learning the Selenium Playwright or whatever the API, I can know like what are the functions I'm using here. So that's one thing. And also if anyone got stuck, they can just click on the refer this button that will take to my YouTube channel videos. Like I have the Selenium in Tamil language, and here I have the protector. So more things are going to be added, like the Playwright is also going to be added very soon here. So this is one thing. Like for if you take any applications, these are the possibilities of input fields. Like something can be disabled, something can be only read only. We cannot type anything here. So based on that scenarios, I have created almost all the test cases. Like if you have the button, we can get the coordinations, we can get the color, we can get the height and width. We can check like whether it's enable or disable. So like that, I have like different scenarios for almost like whatever the WebDriver functions we have. Based on that, I have created all this pages where everyone can learn. So it is not up to like we can learn only Selenium or anything. So we can learn whatever you're learning, like Selenium, Protector, Playwright, WebDriver IO, Cypress, anything it is, you can use it. And apart from the test sites, also it has my latest product, the LetXpath, which is used to find the XPath in website. And here also another section called interview preparations. Like I upload frequently interview questions. Like you can read like what is the questions, and the solution will be given in this video. So like that, I have like 8 or 9 videos, I believe. Yeah, 7 videos I have. So that will be also there. And of course, the new section, the Playwright. So I have given like whatever we have discussed in the PPT now, that all points are here as well. So they can just go through. So to enhance your learning, we should follow the same sequence, because what is the problem in YouTube is basically like we will have like thousands of videos, and we do not know like where to start and where to end. So keeping that in mind, I have just segregated each and everything in a page, so that if someone wants to learn, like they should not get confused where to start and where to end. So this is the thing here I have. And then we have another section called test practice, because as I said, like practice can only make anyone perfect, right? So of course, the first here we have is basically the components. Like if you want to interact with inputs button, we can understand easily, that is not as challenging. But when we have to go to any interview, they will definitely ask us like how you have done the end-to-end scenario. So for that, I have used the ServiceNow applications. It's kind of like e-ticketing management application that is not related to my, but that application is really great starting application to learn, right? So I have given like few of the test cases where they can follow the steps, and they can enhance their learning more. So that is this page here.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
So we have come to closure of the session. So it was a great session given by you, where you explained us the basics of Playwright, and a pretty much good example how to install it and everything. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up this session?
Yeah, so a few things. So of course you have given me the great intro, so thank you for that. But still from my side, I have to say, like if someone is interested on the Playwright, and if they wanted to learn more, so it's a basically on progress tutorial. It's not fully completed, but I have a playlist called Playwright, where I'm uploading like almost all the videos in the Playwright nowadays. So if someone interested on that, probably they can learn the Playwright from there. And yeah, not only Playwright. So I have the Protector with TypeScript up to the framework level, and Cucumber with Protector is coming soon. And also Selenium, the Selenium in Tamil language actually. So if you are if you are from Tamil Nadu, probably you'll get that very neat and clean. And yeah, And of course, a shout out to you, to your entire team. Thank you so much for having me on your show and giving me the best opportunity to showcase my applications as well as sharing my knowledge. Also, whatever I have gained from the community, I'm just trying to giving it back. I don't have that much experience, but still I'm trying to give my best. So really thankful to you. And yeah, awesome. I think the session went really good. I hope so. Yeah, that's it.
Great, great. Okay, so one more thing, like if anyone want to reach you for Let Code and Playwright or whatever thing you are creating, if they have any doubt, then how can they reach to you?
Okay, so they can actually reach me on my websites, the letco.in, where I will have my contact details, I think, or else they can connect with me on LinkedIn. So I'm mostly active on that. So if anyone have any queries or they just wanted to say hi, probably they can catch me on LinkedIn.
Great. Okay,
Yeah,
Koushik, thanks for being part of our STET journey, and it was such a great session by you on Playwright. And I hope our audience will learn a lot of things from here going forward. And we are expecting more such sessions from you in the upcoming days. Thank you.
definitely. And also, yeah, and thank you so much. And also, I like to thank Arun Murthy. So he's the first person who contacted me for this opportunity. So I really wanted to thank him as well.
Great, great. Thanks. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.